My name is Akmen Arisitke, and I live in New Cross, where I run a Turkish restaurant called That Turkish Place. It was during the 1963 troubles in Cyprus that we became refugees, and I ended up in England with my family during the 1965 January period. I went to 3 different colleges and then eventually finished off from London College of Fashion and worked as a fashion designer. I met my wife, who was in the same class as me. Lorraine and I, we've been together for over 20 years. We married about 18 years ago. Well, having been in this area for so many years, and then after setting up the deli in 1974 with my brother, about 10 years later, we realized that there was a need for a social place in the area. So as soon as the first opportunity came for building a wine bar in this area, we bought these 2 derelict premises. During 1984, once we got our initial license, we continued trading as Ruffles Wine Bar for the first 5 years with not many problems. And it wasn't until 1988-89 that one of the local inspectors took a dislike to the success and possibly to myself and my brother being Turkish. And he continued the vindictive attitude for the next 2 or 3 years. And then eventually we lost our license in 1991. Once we got the second license in my wife and my sister-in-law's name, this time the police insisted on putting another condition on there, which was for me and my brother not to enter the premises during licensing hours. It meant that my wife with 4 children had to try and come and run a business, as well as look after 4 young children. So from 1991 up until now, we've got several court cases running concurrently, one of which is due to go to the House of Lords, and the second one which is due to go to the High Court. On the first license, we've been to the High Court and won a legal battle there where we've set a new legal precedence. Currently, that is actually in the Patterson's Law Book on the first page. For the first time in 30 years living in England, during this period I discovered what racism is all about. However, I then discovered, which was most surprising to me, was that we weren't black enough to be considered seriously by the Racial Equality Council, which really means that we're not black, and yet we're not white enough to be left alone neither. Well, the licensing problems affected me in many ways. My home and business life was devastated, and during this period I found myself drained out of energy. Mentally and physically, and also financially I was ruined. The doctors diagnosed me as a reactive depressive. I didn't even know what that meant until later on.
Well, during the problems of the license, we found it really hard. I mean, Akman was depressed, and he used to take it out on me and get angry with me because we didn't see eye to eye concerning the police. They wrote on my license that he wasn't allowed to enter the premises, and he kept coming on the premises and didn't like it at all when I told him to leave. So in the end, we were fighting so much, I thought, well, I'll take the children to my mother's and get them out of the bad atmosphere. Well, I wish he was home more, because I feel that he doesn't communicate enough with his children. He doesn't know what they're doing in their lives, what activities they're up to, and he misses out on that side, and also the children miss out. They don't know enough about their father, they don't speak enough to him, and also us as a couple as well. We don't have enough time to talk about things, and it affects the home life.
Turkish place? Yes. How many people? I think my restaurant differs in many ways from other kebab shops because I've concentrated on the families and groups of people that's going to come and sit down and enjoy the ambience and the authenticity of the cuisine as well as the interior. I've kept well away from the doner kebab by the window. Sheftali kebab is one of the typical Turkish Cypriot dishes that is one of the specialities of our restaurant. And the way to make it is you get minced lamb, which you mix very finely chopped onions, parsley, herbs and spices. Then it's wrapped in this way on coal fat, lamb's coal fat, which is soaked and washed with vinegar and lemon to give it a very tender, tasteful flavor. Then afterwards you just put that on the charcoal and it's absolutely delicious. Very often we continue to 3 or 4 in the morning. We have some mellow Turkish music at the beginning of the evening. And from 11 onwards, if we've got crowds that would like to enjoy themselves, they just start dancing on the tables, and very often we join in with them.
Fair amount of cloud across the country tonight. It's going to be fairly chilly, especially in the west and in the upland valleys. Temperatures down to 5 or 6 degrees. Rather higher than that across southern England, and temperatures about 7 or 8 down the eastern coast of both Scotland and England. And it's near the coast where we'll see further showery bursts of rain tonight. Further west...
Really, I wish that Ackman was sitting with me, because I do get very lonely. And it's very hard, you know, thinking that he's down at the restaurant talking to hundreds of people and I'm sitting there on my own.
That's it from me. Good night to you.
I've got 4 lovely daughters. I always get their ages mixed up. I think my wife's going to kill me for that, and so with my daughters. It's very easy when you've got 3. You can just say oldest, youngest, middle. But when you've got 4, I tend to get them muddled up, so therefore I call them number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4 daughter. My eldest one is Akjen, who's 17.
They weren't too impressed, no, but apart from that, oh well, good luck.
And number 2 daughter is Tijen, who's 12.
12.
And then Sevjan, which is 10.
10.
And Jada, who's 5, the youngest.
Well, I think I know my daughters better than Ackman does. I spend more time with them, and they're very determined young ladies, and having seen the problems we've had, I don't think they'd want to do it. They're very business orientated, and they've had the good education, so hopefully they'll do something less demanding and earn more money.
My friends and myself, we were very concerned about the 2 cultures that our children has got to grow up within, and about 8-9 years ago we got together and set up a society which then started the Turkish school. Kıbrıs'ı hanginiz en iyi biliyorsunuz?
Nasıl?
Atatürk kimdir?
Ali? Ali?
Kim?
Ali Atatürk?
The way I balance my domestic life and restaurant and the Turkish school is very much like a trapeze artist. However, I think that very often it's quite rewarding when you see the results. I'm hoping that perhaps my children, as well as all my colleagues, as well as the community, can benefit enough one day to make it all worthwhile. I'm Turkish Cypriot with a British passport. However, as for my children, we're bringing our children knowing and respecting both religions, both nationalities, both cultures as much as possible.
What nationality are you?
Half English, half Turkish, Cypriot.